This is Greg coming to you from Scholar Trading. It is Saturday, May 7th, and we're just going to do some Forex and stock reviews for the week coming up. Now, as we've noticed, it's been a pretty rough week as far as interest rates are concerned. Several countries have raised their interest rates, causing a lot of volatility both in Forex and the stock market. So, what I'm going to do is just kind of go over any winning pairs that we've had, and I'm going to start off with some clean charts as we go down the currency pairs. So maybe a slightly longer video than before, but I feel that we've had enough movement in the last few weeks to kind of warrant a reanalysis of any particular charts that have been done already. Okay, so let's get started. First one is AUD CAD. And I've already taken the liberty of erasing, and I just drew a new Fibonacci channel. Let's see what this looks like on the daily. Okay. So as we've seen, this has been steadily decreasing, but now we've kind of hit a little bit of a reversal when we hit a higher high than the previous one and a higher low. Now, it doesn't mean that this is going to continue going up, right? It's still kind of an indecisive mode right here. Like we had a big candle up followed by a big candle down, so it's still kind of hanging around in limbo. But a good indication will be is if it kind of bounces off this line here. And if it does go deeper, then our second point of resistance is going to be the bottom there, right? So at this point in time, though, I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing a reversal. Let's take a look at the 4-hour in this particular chart. So what we've seen here on the 4-hour is we were climbing, then we kind of broke through and started hovering around the 233 EMA. And then we've jumped down. We touched, like obviously we drew the Fibonacci channel based on this one. So it's not like we touched it, but this kind of proves that we hit that area. And then we kind of went up, and it looks like we wicked off the EMA twice and started going back down. But what this tells me is that it could be a potential move off an institutional candle, right? Because you could see here that we had kind of a drop, indecision, sharp drop, and then sharp move up, followed by some more indecisions, and then back up it goes, right? So if we take that down to the 1-hour, we can kind of see that as far as this played out, it was a pretty quick move, right? It started to slowly trickle upwards and then sharp down, sideways, sharp down. For 2 hours it kind of climbed a little bit, sharp down again, and then quick reversal. So I would say that as you see within this candle, even if we switch to the 4-hour, that red is pretty much the same. Okay, so I'm going to use it off the 4-hour to draw the Gann box, and we're going to be playing off that institutional candle as far as an entry is concerned. All right, and judging by how it's set up, this is going to be kind of perfect. It looks like it's going to play off the Fibonacci channel and maybe that 50%. I mean, if you want a double confirmation, this is kind of what it will look like. So you know what? Let's draw a long position. This could be a very solid entry. Somewhere around there. We don't expect it to come lower than that. So 22 pips stop loss is very reasonable. Okay. And judging as far as deep as we went, let's draw this up, for example, right? We went from this peak to this low, and that was about 389 pips. And then we went from this peak to this low, which is about 462. So let's split the difference. Let's say 420. Okay. Just for argument's sake, let's draw this up to 420. Let's see where that's going to sit. And if entry serves it any justice, if it does bounce off here, we could see a slow trickle all the way up to this yellow, possibly even the aqua, depending on how deep this wants to go before we see a pullback. So this could be a very good move for all intents and purposes. Like we've seen a lot of zigzags over the last several months. This could be, like I said, we made a higher high and a higher low. So yeah, it could potentially be just a little bounce before another climb. We've saw AUD kind of increase their rates as well. So if it's not contesting against any other stronger currencies, I feel that it's going to slowly trickle upwards as intended. So yeah, this could be another strong winner. I'm just going to move it over slightly. But 416, on average, let's say 420. We'll make it fun with that. 420, so even better. Perfect 19 to 1 risk to reward ratio. Uh, yeah, worth a shot. I'll set alerts on here to see if we have a good area for entry. So let's see, crossing that value, check for buy entry, reset alerts for EMA shift on 1 hour. Perfect. So now we have our alert and our instruction when it crosses. Let's see what happens. And we'll keep that one a green. AUDCHF. So this again was a potential trade that I set up last week, and it kind of looked like it started going, but it retested. Not too bad though, because if we see the retest happen, it didn't quite break through previous high. We saw we went to a high, then a lower high, now a lower high. So this is making good progress. I would say that it is worthwhile to be able to take it a little bit deeper down. However, like I was saying, right, the Australian dollar recently increased its rates, causing it to go a little bit bullish in the short term. It's hard to say right now whether or not it's actually going to keep dropping or bounce up to go a little bit higher based on that. As you've seen, we didn't actually make a lower low, we made a higher low, right? So it could potentially be one of these patterns, right? Which we call a pendant or a flag, depending on who's making them, right? So that could be something that is entirely possible, and then it just kind of shoots back up. So, I think for all intents and purposes right now, I'm not too comfortable taking this trade. I would say it would have been very good if, cashed out around that 200 pip area, but something would tell me that about 100, anywhere between 100 to 150 would have been reasonable still to grab. So 3 to 1 based on the stop loss, or 2 to 1, still pretty decent, but I'm going to cancel that trade. I don't feel too comfortable with it. I know we're retesting the highs here. And again, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, but there's nothing risked, so nothing lost. And that's kind of more important than potential gains right now. We want to mitigate our damage based on not knowing trajectories. Enjoying that tea, soothing my throat. All right. Yeah, so I'll just erase that. We have it marked up on the previous week's chart. We'll see if that continues, but on this one, I'm going to be removing it. I'll say that the play is kind of done. AUDJPY. So similar idea. Like we've drawn this before. It bounced off, then it broke through. Now it's bouncing off again, and it's sitting around another point of control. So, this tells me that, we didn't really make, we kind of did actually. This dropped a little bit lower. How can we play this? I think in the short term, if we have another bounce off that white, it'll be a very good indicator that we want to keep climbing. So this is kind of the area we want to be looking out for. If it kind of bounces in here and starts going up, we'll be looking for an EMA shift. So for the time being, I'll just draw a long position, kind of at the top of this box. And well, that's quite deep, and we don't really want to be an 85 pip stop loss, but we'll see how it goes. I don't really intend on taking this trade. I am curious though, so I will set an alert right here. And let's see, entering by zone, reset, whoops, alerts for EMA shift on the 1 hour. And spell entering correctly, that would also help. Buy, very good. All right, so I'm gonna check that out. Again, not really a trade that I'm super interested in, but just because of the strong movement we had over the last 2 months and now just a little bit of volatility, it's entirely possible that this will continue to climb. And there's really no sign of it slowing down, right? Like we've had interest rates increase, we've known that's going to be happening, and that causes the specific currency pair to be strong. And JPY, the yen will not be increasing interest rates anytime soon. So that's going to show a lot of weakness. But the Japanese want to be able to fight inflation without increasing any costs to their citizens. One of the smarter countries, in my opinion. But, there's a couple hundred people, I guess, that would disagree with me. So, and usually they're the bankers that are making money off these moves. But it doesn't matter. We'll see how it goes. Set an alert. And again, I wouldn't be looking to take this trade until I see an EMA shift on the 1 hour. So that's going to be the goal. If it bounces off that line, great. I'm not going to set a stop loss that deep. It will really depend if it has the EMA switch. I might just tighten that up with a 30 pip stop loss. So we'll have to see how it goes. All right, I'll keep that one green. AUD NZD. Well, I mean, that sucks. It kind of slightly broke through by how much? Let's see. So if we entered 25 pips, it went 32 pips deep. So I guess 35 pips would have been a better stop loss to set. Oh well, that's unfortunate. But yeah, if that was the case, it went up 250 on a 35 pip. So let's say if we draw this down, I'm just going to get rid of this guy. If we go away. If we draw this down to 35, 7-1, that would have been a nice trade. But it hit stop loss, so I'm not going to validate that. As you can see, it just went slightly deeper than this wick right there. I was expecting to play off that, but it chose to play off this one instead. So, yeah, bit of a bummer, but it is what it is, right? What we can do is just kind of take a gander with a fib channel on this climb right here and its high point, right? So we can see where it's playing off, and it looks like it really likes to hover around that yellow zone. So we could be seeing a lot of that coming up, but if it's climbing, that's a good sign. As you can see, it's really, really staying in its particular areas, right? Like this kind of broke through and went right back in, and then right down to another lower zone. So good to keep an eye on. I'm not really interested in taking trades on this currency pair, so I'm just going to move on. AUD USD. Man, you have been so deceptive. The bounce was there, and like I was saying, EMA shift to take it to the buy. EMA shift happened, so that was looking all right. Trouble is that, EMA shift happened somewhere down here, so the trade would have been about 58 pips in profit. If it's already a 2-1, I would have probably just moved it to break even, and yeah, luckily, you can see it's been very choppy. Just because both currency pairs are strong, this is going to be pretty volatile to try to take any positions on. So I would probably advise against it. If we draw the horizontal lines, we can see a lot of movement around that area. It doesn't really seem to want to break through it. It kind of depends. This is a fantastic trade, though. Like, I'm still bragging about this one. Called it early April. Made TP, 19-1 risk to reward ratio. That was just my trade of the year so far. Love it. Anyway, nothing to see right now. It didn't really move as expected, so we'll move on. I'm not going to mark it. Bitcoin, man, you are breaking my heart. So this is invalidated, crushed through that zone, so it's making new motions here. So we'll switch it back to the daily, and we'll see how deep this is actually going. Look at this. So currently what we're seeing is a play right there. This was valid, I would say, where was this? February 24th. And now we are meeting those same lows on May 8th. There was a prediction that was set out from a few people, actually, thinking that it would hit 28,000 before it started climbing. Now, sure, 28,000, but based on what? Like, I don't really see anything going on here the last time it was within that range. Right? Like there's no volume. I'll draw the volume up just so you can see. But if we go, from there to there, it kind of sits at 34,000. It doesn't really show that it wants to pull any lower. And if it does, there really isn't anything taking it except any manipulation that could possibly be a factor. Right? Like even here, even if we draw the volume from this area, let me try clicking it again, from that consolidated area from there to there, you know, the majority of it is sitting right at the bottom of where this candle hit, right? So it rejected off there once. 32,000, I mean, it is entirely possible that we'll hit that area once again. And if we hit it and then don't really bounce and kind of settle there for a little while, I'd be curious to see if it's going to drop any lower. Then possibly, you know, I mean, we could make 28,000 perfectly valid. But again, because of this, and then we had a nice bounce the first time, I see us doing the same sort of play. Like, I was really hoping that it would kind of bounce off this POC, but judging how you could see the EMA didn't even shift, it just kept going. Very good sign that it wanted to continue. And here our favorite DeLorean candle setup, you know, just shows even further on the daily that it's going to tank. So as far as Bitcoin to take a reversal, it's going to be super risky. But where it's sitting right now, you can see right on the 50% line of my previous institutional candle right there. Just move it forward a little bit. This guy. Okay, it bounced off there once. It's hitting there right now and slowly moving up. Let's take a look on a smaller time frame what's happening. Okay, so it shot down hard and then it pulled up and then it shot down hard again. Now it's pulling up. We'll see where it closes in 35 minutes. If I'm still doing the charts by then, you know, I'll quickly switch back to Bitcoin. But yeah, this is going to be a very intriguing position to take. If it drops down to 32,900 or even 33,000, I think personally I will take a position on it, you know, and do a little bit of a risk, set $500 stop loss for Bitcoin. Because at that point, if it goes lower, it's going to go lower, right? But if we have a reversal, that's going to be a beautiful entry for that small short climb. I don't know if we're going to be breaking those extreme zones within the next climb or not, because what we've been seeing is a very, very bearish market. And that's not to say that it should be bearish. Like there's really nothing pushing us towards a bearish market besides idiotic policies right now. So we kind of have to play it by ear. Okay. Yeah, so like I said, watch that 34,000 mark and watch that 32,900 mark, or yeah, just about there. So kind of anywhere in this area would be a decent position to take for an entry, and stop loss slightly below it. If you know that stop loss, if it kind of hits below it, and it'll very likely keep going. Right? So tight stop loss, not too tight. You don't want to be wicked out as it climbs, but as we see right now, even on a 4-hour, the EMAs are pointing down pretty significantly. I wouldn't say sharply, like we have similar move like we did around this area, and then it reversed, right? So yeah, right now it's doing a little bit of a zigzag. I'd pay attention more to the white line. Like this was quite heavily moving down, and now it's, you know, it has the potential to have another move up over the next few days. So we'll see how it goes. Like I said, mark it up. I'll mark mine up as well, and I'll see how it ends up later on. CAD CHF, that was definitely a loser. So we remove that. You know, it happens from time to time. I mean, you can't win them all. In April, we had a winning month of about 2,200 pips max, about 2,300. If stop losses were set or proper TPs were taken when EMA shifted, I judged it by EMA shifts, so it was approximately 1,700 pips worth to snag. And it depends on your risk to reward ratio for each of those pairs, right? So overall, a very good month. Now, yeah, I mean, you know, we lost 25 pips on AUD NZD, lost 24 here. So yeah, I mean, not the greatest start of the month, but we'll see how it continues. Switch this to the daily briefly. We'll see where we have any significance. So there's a lot of play around this area in the past. The next area will be right around there. So let's mark that up. Right? We see a lot of peaks hit this area or come through and right back down. So that's where looks like where we're headed. Good potential pullback zone from there. CAD has been pretty bullish as well due to their interest rate increase, as you saw from here going all the way up. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see if it's going to be going to its next high point right there, right where we had it wick off several times, or if it's going to reverse. So this is going to give us a lot of information. I would say, it's a little late to enter the buy entry. Well, it's on the daily, so let's switch to the 4-hour now. All right. That's actually better information, right? So if we have an EMA switch on the 4-hour, that'll be a good sign to take a look at the 1-hour for another EMA shift going up, right? So as you can see, it's slowly dropping right now on the 1-hour, and these candles are kind of making their way down, right? So you saw it kind of rejected off the pink, and now it's testing it several times, going through and come back up on that 55 EMA. Right, so it broke through it significantly, tested off the white, didn't test as deep, now off the pink, and now it's trying one more time. So off the 1-hour, it's good to watch to see if this actually breaks through. It might test that white line again, that 233 EMA, because you can see it's been happening quite often, like the test and then pulls right back up. All right, but this area right here, that's where EMAs were much more consolidated than they are moving higher. So I would say right now, if we have a sharp move down to the white, a potential entry would be somewhere around there. As far as a stop loss is concerned, let's say it bounces off the white. What's the depth that it went right here? If it was a sharp move, 40 pips. It's pretty deep. I would probably do about 30 myself. Like, it still seems pretty significant. And then a potential TP somewhere around 3.5. That's a short gain right there, but a long, like, that would be the first TP. So after you hit that, just be cautious. Second one would be about here for 256, bringing our risk to reward about 8.5 to 1. So pretty decent. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll set an alert right here, and I'll just put entering buy zone. Set alert for EMA switch on the 1-hour. And I guess entering is difficult for me to spell. So there's another alert set. Mark that up, and let's see how CAD JPY is looking. Oh man, that's messy. But yeah, it's played out nicely, I guess, right in between these lines, right? And that's kind of where marked it up last week, what we saw going on. And it came close, but it really didn't seem to want to climb past this big imbalance candle. So it hit it, it closed it entirely, and then it started going down. So as this looks like right now, it's not a position I'd like to enter, especially when it's kind of right in between my highs and lows, right? So I'm going to leave that alone. But out of curiosity, I will draw a Fibonacci channel from here to here. We'll see how it's been playing out. Okay, so it's too deep to be able to get an accurate read, but I would say off the white has been playing off a few times. Yeah, I do believe that this is going to drop a little bit lower, maybe on a higher time frame. Let's take a look to see what's happening. Okay, yeah, so off the larger Fibonacci I drew, I think on the weekly. Like, this is pretty deep. Yeah, so it's bouncing right off that 886. So overall on a weekly, since 2014, so in 8 years, I guess what we can say is a deep pullback. But yeah, what I thought would have happened a couple of weeks ago is maybe bounce off the 786, but it went a little bit deeper. This is entirely possible that it's going to start falling now. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to say. I'll keep an eye on it. It's not something. It's not a potential trade I'd want to be entering, but I am curious to see what happens if it does actually play out in between those two zones, or if it does climb. Right now, it's starting to go sideways. We'll see if this EMA catches up. Best thing would be is consolidation, and then a good breakout from that point would be the opportunity to take an entry. So I'm not going to mark that one right now. CHF, JPY, what do we see here? Within a Fibonacci channel, I'm just going to delete those markings. There's really not much interest to take a trade right now. Like, it is doing significant pullbacks, in kind of the golden zone right here. And now, as you can see, it's making new lows. So that's a good sign. I would say that once we hit a reversal, right? So anywhere from this high, whenever we come down to the next low. So, best way to do it is boom, boom, boom. Potential to climb up there. But how do we check lower lows, right? We go high, low, next high. So the potential target is going to be around here. I'll just draw a trend line. Right there is going to be a potential target. So in that case, if we take our Fibonacci and draw it from this area down to there, let's say we do hit it, pullback is going to be around here that we'd be interested in taking a trade on, right? So, I mean, it's going to take a while for that area to hit. I would not recommend doing counter trends, right? It's starting to go down right now on a larger time frame. So, yeah, I mean, if it actually does hit that line right here and bounces up, this will be a fantastic entry for a sell for it to go a little bit deeper. Who knows what will happen, though? I mean, the yen, again, isn't strong, neither is the franc, so could just be a structural move, right, rather than any sort of strong push. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on it, but we'll keep going. DXY, the dollar is worth more than the dollar. Imagine that. Well, look at these bounces, eh? What craziness is this? Oh, no, I just messed it up. Yeah, that's exactly how it was. But yeah, that is really, really something. So we'll keep an eye on it, right? As you can see, since Fed, like, what was it? Fed rates were announced here, and then it tanked, and then it kind of blew up. This has been steadily climbing for the last few months. It's not slowing down. We'll see how deep it goes. Like, now that the dollar has increased in strength, the NASDAQ stocks are tanking. Yeah, I guess people are pulling out. It's really odd how the dollar increases in strength, and then, we get kind of a counter move when it comes to the stock market. But everything kind of works out in a way for us not to be able to understand, us plebs. So, yeah, unfortunately, yeah, Forex, USD is going to be pretty bullish. Maybe stocks right now is not the good thing to take any sort of positions on, except maybe puts. Let's continue on. Ethereum. Holy, look at this. What a beautiful kind of drop right through one zone down to another. How deep could it go? Right to the aqua. We do have this trickling down. Where's the aqua going to be if it hits that area? We're going to be looking at somewhere around the lower 2000s to be able to take a reversal on, right? So as we see right now on the 4 hour, the last move that I made was around here, okay? And I'll set it up in a few minutes one more time. But if you see how this has been playing out, so we'll see where the points are, yeah, just right here. So it's playing off since that, okay? We'll zoom in this area, because in here we have some nice candles to work with, okay? And believe it or not, the ones that are good for, for cryptocurrencies is actually the 6 hour. Oh, look how beautiful that kind of played off. 6 hours become interestingly valid, because if you think about it, crypto never closes, right? So what makes more sense than to split up your day into quarters? 6 hours is a very valid candle pattern to be looking at for cryptocurrencies, since they never shut down. What that brings me to is better projections. So you know what? Let's pop on Bitcoin right now for a second on the 6 hour, and we'll see how that's been playing off. And as you can tell, like, it's the exact same on that candle. It's just the wick is a little bit different. But as you can see, the plays have been much clearer in this instance, right? Look at this. So it is dropping slightly more. Like it was 2.7 the last time I checked, and now it's 3.2. So it has dropped 0.5% since we've taken a look at it last. This might actually, if it goes down the entire way, that'd be very interesting. But it's got 2 hours and 21 minutes for the 6-hour candle to close. If you guys analyze cryptocurrency, I would say 6 hours on the long-term scale would be very beneficial to take a look at. Simply because, hey, like I said, doesn't stop trading at any point in time, and it divides the day up into beautiful quarters, right? All right, so we were just on Ethereum, so let's just finish the analysis here. All right, if we take a look at entry, this area would be very good to keep an eye on. So if it drops somewhere around here, right? So it hits around that 50% and the blue line. That's kind of, like I said, the double whammy that we've seen on another currency pair. Good to keep an eye on to see if it actually drops that low. But as you've seen, Bitcoin already hit its February 24th low, right? Like that's where it's hovering right now. Right? Like no, it went a little lower, so we've broken through that. But Ethereum, strangely enough, is higher. Right? That's actually a good sign. That means that even though the moves are very similar, Ethereum hasn't had as deep of a pullback as Bitcoin does. So it's good to keep an eye on, right? If one particular currency or crypto drops lower than what the average is, I would say. Well, let me rephrase that. Bitcoin is kind of the average of where everything's going. So if right now on May 8th you have lower lows than what you did on February 24th, or lower than what Bitcoin's actually at, I would say you're looking at a bullish currency at that rate. If it's higher than that specific spot with any cryptocurrency, it could be a very strong chance for a reversal. And if it's not particularly a reversal right now, once it does, it could reverse harder. I'll give you an example. Loop ring, right? When we had our little bullish run a couple days ago, I think it was Thursday afternoon, right, where the prices came out for the interest rates. The interest rate came out, and that's what caused a lot of volatility in the market. Cryptocurrency on average went up about 5%, right? So when did that happen? May 6th. Nothing really happened for Ethereum, right? But Bitcoin, you can see that big drop down. Okay, we had a little bit of a spike right here on May 3rd, May 4th, right? That spike right here, and then it just tanked. Okay, Ethereum, same thing, exactly the same. All right, the difference is Bitcoin has been dropping at a steeper pace compared to Ethereum. But Loopring, when it did that little recovery, like these went up 3, 4, 5%, Loopring went up 12. Right? So it's very interesting just to keep an eye on the smaller ones that are maybe not as popular but are really coming out. There's a very good chance that they will kind of overshadow the major cryptocurrencies and take off in the short term. So yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on this one. I'm not really going to be entering a trade until I see it hit this area. Euro AUD. So this beast kind of hit its low right here, never came back to it yet. But let's see if we can project some moves. Right now it's bouncing off the white twice. Okay, so it kind of, don't really want to say concerns me, but a good possibility is that, again, one of two things. It'll either break through or go lower. Right, there's really not much to it. So this is kind of the area that we have to keep an eye on. Right? If it breaks through the white, we're going to see it retest and then climb higher. If it breaks through the white and then goes lower, that's a very clear sign. But right now, when these EMAs are starting to consolidate, we'll switch it to the 4-hour because it's, yeah, so there you go. Beautiful consolidation right here. So once we get out of this box even, okay, once we get out of this area, we're going to see a clear move in that specific direction. So what I'm going to do is add alert, and I'm just going to write moving up. Check for EMA shift, and then right click here, add alert, moving down, stay out. Right? Because if it does move down, it's not going to be very long. We've consolidated here for quite a bit. It just could bounce around in between these two zones. Even though there is approximately like 300 pips to grab in that area, 330 to 350, I don't know, for some reason I'm just not comfortable with this currency pair, judging of how it dropped so steep for the what is it, from February to March for an entire month. And now just kind of can't decide where to go. All right, so I would say, yeah, good space for those alerts. We'll see what happens. Oh yeah, we'll do that. EuroCAD. Oh, look at this little bad boy. This has been moving very nicely. All right, like I said, EMA shift on the 1 hour. The only trouble is I think I did this one on the 30th. So I was expecting a pullback down to this area before it started climbing. You know, I don't really want to cheat and say, oh yeah, look at the call I made. But unfortunately, yeah, the EMA switch happened 29 the 1st. So this is when markets reopened on May 1st, and this is where they closed off. I was expecting kind of a dip lower, but this is as deep as it went, so I'm going to invalidate this trade. It did not retest my area as expected, so let's reanalyze those, shall we? Fibonacci is always something good to utilize. So here's our lower high down to our lowest low. Now we kind of hit that golden zone. We're chilling out there right now. As you can see, candle kind of closed on a parallel there. Very good sign, actually, that it wants to continue to climb. Right, like I said, favorite candle pattern, DeLorean, right? It could continue climbing. So potential entry for an upward trajectory. Let's see where that would take us, shall we? Let's switch over to the 4 hour. And where could it potentially go if we do the retracement? Low, high, low. No, that's what it did already. High, low, high. No, we already did that move. Yeah, I guess it didn't really touch down anywhere. So the best thing to draw in this instance would be the Fibonacci channel. Right, so here we are. We're going to go from this high to, I guess, this high, and then the lowest part in between is this guy. And we'll see how that's been playing out. Okay, zoom right in there. Okay, so we know it's already in that fib channel. We'll just delete that, or Fibonacci, the regular. So yeah, very interesting. It went down right just to the tip of the red. I mean, it was about a pip away. Let's see. Right, so from here to there, yeah, 3 pips, 4 pips, whatever. Okay, and then it rejected and went right back up. So right now, and now we're bounced off that aqua, but it looks like it wants to keep going because it's not like it was a rejection and then a following candle down. It closed on a doji. So that shows indecision. Indecision meaning that it's, probably wanted to do a reversal because, I mean, it lost half the candle body with a wick right there, but it opened and closed in the same spot. So on a 4 hour, no less. So what that tells me, and then if we take a look at the 1 hour, that's where we get those parallels. Okay. So what this tells me is I think it wants to keep climbing. We know that this candle pattern is about a 90% chance that the next candle forming will close green, right? So very good chance that this will continue to climb. How deep, you ask? I would probably predict not very deep at all, considering how many times it kind of stayed around the aqua. And now if we take a look, it broke through, sort of broke through, barely touched, didn't even cross, and I mean wick just crossed and the body closed much lower. So it's very possible that this is just another rejection. It's going to drop down hard. Um, Considering where everything's been bouncing off, we broke through the red right here, touch the red, touch the red, touch the red. So, I mean, very strong possibility that if history repeats itself, we could be seeing a move something like this. Uh, do we have any wicks that go higher than the previous one? We do. By how much? Let's do a measurement. Tip of the wick, something like 7 to 8 pips. All right, so let's say it does go up and you take an entry right now. Currently, it'd be at 30, so I would say 40 pips would be safe for a stop loss, 39.7, and to take it down to probably there, right? So let's say, for example, this trade kind of works out the way it does. It drops down to the red, so you have anywhere to grab potential 300 to 360 pips. So a 9 to 1 risk to reward ratio is pretty good. You know what? I'm liking this one. I'm going to be setting an alert. Entering sell zone. Check for EMA shift on shaft. Shift on the 1 hour. Reset. Holy cow, reset alert. All right. So a pretty good spot to take, right around there, and then it'll drop a little bit lower, judging how history has played out over the last 2 months, right, between the aqua and the red line. So potential to happen again. Let's see. How many times did that happen? 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Now it's the 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4 times could be a 5th. Let's see. I'm going to mark that one a green. Euro CHF. Oh, what a bummer. Almost. It almost made it. Not quite 350, but 267 was the peak. When EMA shifted, it would have been right here. So I would say 200 to maybe 180 would have been a reasonable amount to get out on. A 5 to 1 ratio, still pretty good. Yeah, it's too bad it didn't go as low as expected, even though this was making lower lows. It's okay. It reversed. I guess euro showing some strength. So, as far as the target goes, I'm still going to move it down there. Move didn't exactly play out, but I'll just shift it right there for the exit where it would have been. So, yeah, 10 to 1 still pretty decent. Or no, that didn't happen. Sorry, it's a 5 to 1. Right? 5 to 1 is what this made. Not too shabby. It's too bad. I thought it was going to drop a little bit lower, but I guess we got a reversal quicker than intended. And like I've been saying, right, if you take it on the 1 hour and you were seeing an EMA shift, like it kind of would have been around here, it would have been risky to stay in longer, but it did drop once more, and then, with this kind of sharp move, I would have been out. With me, unfortunately, every time it kind of drops in, I get very tight with my stop loss. So once I saw the drop here, I kind of moved the stop loss to the imbalance, and then it got triggered around there. So knocked me out, but you know what? Still, I think it was a 3.5 to 1 for me, so it was okay. But yeah, so very nice moves. 3 to 1, 4 to 1, sorry. Very nice moves. Went into the areas that we expected. Very, very well played. But yeah, this is kind of over. I don't really see any other potential areas of entry here. Let me switch it on the daily to see if I can see something long term. We bounced off that area. Right now in the long term, it's just climbing down. Pullback is happening. Let's see what we see here. There. Look at that. On the retracement, it just touched the tip right on the line. What a beautiful move that. Oh, shoot. Beautiful move that was. So, regular Fibonacci, high to low. It's in the golden zone right now. It's very possible that it'll drop from higher. Out of curiosity's sake, let's just put it right here from the EMA. What would be a reasonable stop loss, maybe 40. Yeah, well, like I was saying, right, there's an imbalance there. So what if we, you know what, how about like this? This would make more sense if it goes right there about 40 pips. And then we can take it lower from there, probably just to the, maybe the green. Let's not go too crazy. 300 pips, 7.3 to 1, decent. I'm not going to enter this one though, but I am curious to see what happens. So I am going to turn it green, but I'm not going to set alerts for this guy. Euro GBP. This has been really wonky. But as you saw, it broke structure, right? So off the white, off the white, off the white, breakthrough. So that's over. Now we're going to be making higher highs. But it's very interesting on where it closed off, right? So if we draw a horizontal line, just tip of the wick, didn't beat it. Could be a good sign that it's going to be reversing, right? And what kind of candle we want to look for? Something in there. Let's switch it down to the 4-hour and look for that white box. What do we see? Nothing really of interest, just kind of a fractal. Let's drop that to up, or actually let's move that up to a 6-hour. Nothing really of no. Maybe this guy. That might be interesting to play off of. But that's quite the distance, I believe. Like even if, not really. Interesting. You know what? Let's see how that plays out. I'm curious now. Move it all the way over. Right? Solid rejection. Now we have a big red candle forming after that green. What's it look like on the 1-hour right now? Oh, EMA is just shifting. This could be a potential sleeper. GBP could actually start crushing the euro because we saw some strong movement in the last hours of trade. You know what? I'm going to pop on quickly Forex Factory and we'll see what this is looking like. Forex Factory yesterday. GBP, nothing really of note. The day before, there we go. Official bank rate 1%. So May 5th, 5 a.m. So we'll see how, or my time, 5 a.m. We'll see how that played out. May 5th, 5 a.m. Oh, look at that beast. Up it goes, right? Honestly, it looked very similar in the U.S. as well. The U.S. came out and it started shooting opposite. We'll just pop on USD CAD, for example. Right, U.S. came out on the 4th. Look how much it went down and slowly started to reverse. Okay, so GBP Euro, or Euro GBP right here, kind of pulling the same thing. It started climbing and now it's hitting its reversals spot. I am very intrigued right now. I would say if the EMA shift happens there, I wouldn't even worry about making it such a deep stop loss, maybe 30 pips at most. How low can we go? Judging where we were having the bounces, I would say here would be a reasonable target, about 160 pips, 5 to 1. Just because this is what I notice on the 4-hour, right? Another big play like that, the engulfing candle. However, this giant imbalance will need to be filled, so we could even make it a little bit deeper. Let's go to the 50% of that. 6 to 1. That's not too shabby for a short-term gain. Yeah. All right, I'm going to set the green. I'm going to follow that at open on Sunday. Then we'll see where it goes. Euro JPY. Didn't quite go as high as I expected, but still not too shabby. Gained approximately 418 pips. Like that's still very good, right? I mean, 30 to 1 risk to reward ratio would have been nuts, but I mean, 17 to 1 is still very good. As you can see, like what a beautiful entry for that for a 25 pip stop loss. If you took it the way up right here, EMA never actually shifted until about this point right here. So best case scenario, if we left it up there, exit would have been probably right after this candle, right? So that would be 280 pips. Like that's still super reasonable. Probably with me if I would have stayed in this trade that long, because again, I got knocked out somewhere down here. I moved my stop loss up way too soon. Yeah, so I'll give an example. This was my entry, beautiful, beautiful, back to break even. Oh, that sucks, right? I mean, who would not move their stop loss to break even after being in profit 120 pips, right? Like there just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, it's unfortunate, knocked out, but it did not hit the stop loss. It just went right back up. So one way or another, still a beautiful move. If I was in this thing the entire time, once I start seeing these kind of parallel candles form, that's kind of my first sign of exit, right? I mean, this would have been a good sign that it broke through previous high, but now we're kind of hovering, and then we drop further, and then we're hovering. I'd probably exit around here. So let's say 330 pips, still fantastic, right? Great trade right here. Didn't quite do the 750 like expected or hoped for, but it might keep climbing, right? Like it didn't really retrace that deep. It hit off the white right here. So, another potential move. After it starts consolidating, we can see that it's been playing off and it broke through this previous line, and now it's kind of retesting it. So, it's a very strong chance that this could be that move that we're looking for now, right? As far as stop loss, though, see that's the issue here. Do we want to make it tight or do we want to make it large? I would say EMA's already switched on the 4 hour, right? So as deep as this goes, probably to the wick of this one. Just be very cautious, right? We'll switch over to the 1 hour, see what's inside that wick. Parallel candle, tight EMAs. Yeah, you know what? If it goes like this, I'd be waiting for a EMA shift on the 1 hour to go up, and then I would tighten my stop loss probably right here to this white line. So on the 4 hour, let's see what that looks like. It'll zoom us out. 42 pip stop loss, pretty reasonable. 13 and a half to 1 RR, potential for 568 pips. Possible. I mean, JPY is weak. Euro might be gaining some strength. Let's see what happens. Oh, excuse me. I'm not going to be setting alerts for this either. I just watch it. Euro NZD. It's reversing similar to the AUD. As you can see, the pink line is becoming the 55 EMA, the pink line, very strong contestant to reject from. So it could possibly continue on that way for several weeks. Not interested though, I'm going to leave that alone. Euro USD. This is what happens when you have two currency pairs that are battling it out. Just go sideways. Once that starts happening, just move on to another pair. That's not worth it. Look at this. What nonsense is that? But it did pop if one more time. Like that's kind of what I was I think I talked about that last week, right? As it shot up. But yeah, I did, because it kind of closed up here. And one big sign for me is if it does not break previous highs and it starts dropping again, get out. Right? So again, this is fantastic for two entries that it would have hit. Like that's crazy. But the first one, it went to 421, 422. Then the second climb to 388. Good potential 700 pips to be able to snag from that. Even if you got half that, it's a fantastic trade over the course of 2 weeks. 3 weeks. How about 3 weeks? Yeah, fantastic. This has worked out very well. And now what we kind of do is we tested this low once again. It did not break through previous low, so that means we're going to be climbing. And yeah, like I said, EMA shifts are your best friend here, so keep an eye on that. Ideally, these EMAs kind of need to catch up, so my guess is some consolidation before a hard move upwards. But I'm not really watching it. This was another fantastic trade. Unfortunately, like I said, it missed TP by 22 pips. It's okay. I mean, that's still a fantastic ratio too, 13 to 1. Almost twice. Not too bad, right? So overall, that would have been over 20 to 1 even if you got out halfway. So great trade. GBP CAD. CAD has been tanking hard. Called this to go up. Yeah, it was kind of right. Got some pips out of that. Otherwise, it just dropped hard. And these lines are pretty much invalidated now. I'm just going to delete them all. We'll switch to the daily, see where this is headed. As you can see, it kind of broke through previous like lows, all-time low. Now it's headed to this area, maybe this area. So, you know, really deep tests right now going back years. So we'll see which one it really plays off of. Okay. But the curious thing for me is, what do these wicks tell me? What does that wick tell me? That is bananas. All right, so you know what? Let's set a replay. I don't think it's going to be going back that far in the... Oh, it does. Okay. Even on the 1 hour, gigantic wick. I would love to know more information on that one, but 8 years ago, I'm not going to be able to see on a 15-minute time frame. So that's that, unfortunately. Let's switch to the daily and move forward because there was one more time it kind of bounced off that area. We'll just let it happen. There we go. Right there. So what is that showing me on a smaller time frame? Anything interesting? It's showing me bad internet connection. All right, well, whatever the case is, there's something over there. Okay, switch that back to the daily. So this is kind of what we have going on here. It's retested that zone. You know what? Everything's super steep right now, even on the daily, to be able to consider any sort of reversals. This is not the time to be taking things counter trend. And it's already so deep, like it's been dropping since kind of the end of February. And now it's the beginning of May. So that's nearly 3 months of just constant drops. Like from a high to a low, it's 1,500 pips. That's bananas, right? Lots and lots of drops for this one to go through. So, yeah, I'm not really interested in taking any trades anytime soon on that. Let's switch it out. Ooh, this one was so close. Another good climb until a sharp reversal happened, right? Even on the daily. So yeah, 326. I think I already made this point last video. So, you know, this is kind of over and done with. I'll shift this over to where the climb was at its peak. Very nice to grab. You know, at most 328, a 10 to 1. So, you know, not too shabby. It would have been nice to grab more, but that's kind of where it ended. So it is what it is. But as you can see, it's been rejecting off that line several times. So good sign that it's going to continue to do that for quite some time. Right? EMA slowly pointing downwards. So what do we look like on the 4 hour? Pretty much consolidating. Right? We're bouncing off there several times. So I would say maybe wait once more. If it crosses over like this and goes up, it's a good sign for entry. But look at this. Both wicks, the exact same spot. Right? So this is a very good sign for me that if it drops, it will not be hitting these lows again. It might, this might be it actually. This might be the climb up. EMA shift on a higher time frame is beneficial, you know, and if it crosses the white, I would say this one would be smart to take a little bit deeper, right? If it crosses the white, then I would say, yeah, definite strength to get up about 350 pips for an 8 to 1. I'll just set it up. I'm not going to mark it. I'm curious, but I'm not going to risk that. Wow, this is interesting. What do we see? Higher lows each time, higher highs. These two candles kind of made all of this volume here. Yeah, I think this is going to keep climbing. Strong potential. EMA shift again. It dropped below the white, but not significantly, and it looks like it's going to continue going. Everything's kind of pointing in that direction. If we take a look at the daily, not even close to reversing, right? It's just kind of bouncing off a 55 EMA there. And on the daily, that's a great sign. So if it's bouncing off that here, you know, good chance to zoom in on a smaller time frame and snag an entry. So good potential. I'm not going to mark that up though. Actually, I am going to mark it up. You know, if we look at an entry, I would say probably off the white there. That's a super deep stop loss. You know, that's if it crosses. So I would say probably there would be what I risk, 66, maybe 65 pips. How high would we want to go? Probably a little bit higher than that, but let's be more conservative and go to the volume zone here. Maybe first TP at that imbalance, right? Still a 7.4 to 1 on this ratio, and it'll all depend on where these EMAs switch in the next few days. Okay, good to watch. You know, I'm going to set an alert right there. Add alert. Entering buy zone. Check EMA shift on the 1 hour and 4 hour. All right. Wonderful. Moving on. GBP NZD. It's super choppy. Not interested. GBP USD. Lots of contention here. You know, we had the US rates on the 4th and GBP on the 5th, so that's where you get all this nonsense. Strong rejection off that EMA, wasn't it? Yeah, it would have been a nice trade to snag. Well, yeah, it really broke through structure before. I don't really want to look at anything here. GBP and US are going to be very bullish over the next little while. I would avoid taking trades in that currency pair. If you're looking to take trades on Forex, it'd be advisable to do something with like a strong end of week pair, so it'd be more predictable, right? So like GBP Euro or Euro GBP or Euro USD. Those two would be good opportunities. The CAD is weaker than US right now, even though it's bullish. CHF pairs, either GBP or USD, good choices, right? JPY for sure. I mean, that's not going anywhere, right? That might have a little spike next week, but overall it's going to be dropping pretty hard, I believe. So we'll see. NZD CAD. Yeah, not at all what I was expecting, but that's kind of why I don't like to play those specific pairs. Let's check the daily. Where are we at here? Any potential moves? Looks like we've been going down for a very long time, so let's draw the channel. Right, we like the channel, right? From high to high there. That's the highest point there. Very interesting how it played out. I mean, you can manipulate it and try to see, oh, look how they line up. How pretty is that? Let's not cheat with our analysis, shall we? But even if we go to this point there, you see how nicely this all played off. But you wouldn't know that until we get past that area, right? So where would be another place to kind of draw it up from? Nowhere really. Like it's just, doesn't matter. I don't want to play that pair anyway. NZDCHF. Look at my little rainbow. How pretty. What do we see? Reading rainbow. Yeah, I was expecting to take a position off here, but it didn't quite play out as expected. It's still hovering around that line. You can see the close on Friday where that took us. Smaller time frame. You know, it's pulling us back up. EMAs have shifted upwards, and now it's kind of struggling to decide where to go, and they're kind of consolidated. But judging as to the momentum where this is going, it's going to be going up. But I still am not interested in taking that pair. And this is a mess. No thank you. NZD, USD. Good rejection off that pink EMA like we saw before. So very, very strong move. Yeah, USD is strong, right? NZD is kind of kicking up too. That's why you see that consolidation there. But overall, yeah, like this USD CAD. If that trade was taken on a switch, right, like I was saying, only EMA switch, right, would have been kind of down here, but still a safe play to take off that area. What a beautiful TP gain this was. That's what I expected at first. That was a 15 to 1. Look at that. And it's still going. Right? So right now it's potentially a 19 to 1 trade. Holy bananas. This just wants to keep going. Yeah. Very, very nice trade. What was I saying? The other 19 to 1 was my best call. Maybe this one's going to be even better. Let's see what happens, guys. I'm really, really curious. All right, but there's no, I don't really see another entry to take. This just needs to play out. So, fun to watch. USDCHF, look at this. Just like it's, oops, may as well delete that now. Rocketing up there. Like, oh my goodness. Man, what a whiff on that one. I didn't really see an entry. I thought it was going to reject down, but damn. Right? Since right here when they all shifted up, like this has been a 550 pip gain almost. Yeah, around there in the span of 3 weeks. Very nice. Yeah, didn't go the way I expected it, so whatever. I can't say what the potential was there. Interesting move on USD rejected off that white EMA, so it'd be the pink EMA on the 4-hour. Pink was popular, wasn't it? It's the third time we see a USD kind of hover around pink and break through it, right? Similarly to what happened there. So again, it's very strong potential that this is going to keep climbing. Silver, gold, not really interested in. I'm going to skip them this time around. Oil, it finally kind of broke out of its shell and didn't make a. It was doing a bit of a flag for the last few weeks. Pardon me. But we seem to want to be climbing out of that now. And we damn well better be, because oil prices should actually reflect what is happening here. So I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing around the 120s again. If not this week, then probably the next. Yep. Okay. And then our favorite, NASDAQ and US 30. I'm going to do on my long-term charts here. It's been a while, I haven't kept up with them, so I'll just mark them up as I chat. Right? So we saw that red line, that's kind of invalidated now. It's going to be around here. Let's draw up the box. On the 30-minute, let's go 15-minute even. Okay. Market close at the end of that candle until that candle. So it was a very nice climb, and it was super short-lived, and it just kind of crushed all my hopes and dreams. What can you do? Oh, jeez. Okay, but at the same time, we formed another imbalance right there. Not imbalance, but gap. So there's that to catch up on, and then, we closed off there, and then we had a really crappy night, and an even worse morning. Man, see, that's what happens when panic sets in. Okay, so right there to there, that closed the gap, so that's a green. All right, and that was an alert I said. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, bye-bye. Why are you taking so long? Whatever. Okay, so, and now we had our close right there till about 7. So that candle's going to close, so we'll see what happens. But, yeah, not overly excited about what's been happening here. Okay, we've made a new low. And, yeah, I was thinking that this is going to be it, the start of our new climb. I was wrong. Shoot, I hate when that keeps happening. I was wrong, so delete that. But now let's switch over to the 4-hour. Let's kind of get a projection as to what we see in the long term. I'll just draw Ray. That's going to look a little neater. Ray there. 4. Great, and trend line gone. That is to be blue. No, how many days was that one too? That's, yeah, orange. Okay. Took a little while, but it didn't take longer than 5 days. All right, so this is what I see. So we could definitely be headed over the 12,300. Like from the low that we hit, that's only 200 points away. This is definitely possible. And the way that we've been going, I don't doubt it. Like, it just sucks, but the painful trip. You know what? I'm going to do a Fibonacci channel from here to here. And then go from the first low or the second low. No, I don't really want to do a channel there anyway. Okay. But yeah, that's definitely a place that it wants to kind of go to. You know, this thin red line was where we had volume buildup for 6 months between 2020 December and May of 2021. This thin red line right here. As you can see, it kind of rejected once, it went deeper the second time, and then it kind of broke through. But it is testing it on the opposite end here. We've hit that white line. That was the 50%, I believe. Let's just scroll all the way here. That was 50% somewhere around this area. I can't remember exactly which one I drew it from. But yeah, it looks like we're going to test lower. I really hate to say that, but like it's crushing. You know, the only thing that would help is if the US dollar would weaken somehow. But the currency itself is strong, even though it's showing kind of recession numbers right now. Like if we take measuring stick from the peak to the low right now, you know, it now has dropped 4,242 pips. So if we do a percentage, right, 16,760 divided by 12,518, 1.33. 1.33. No, we got to do it the other way. 12,518. Pardon me, my math skills are not fantastic. 74.6. So it dropped 25.4%. That's pretty significant considering economy should have opened back up. Bummer. But, you know, as the famous Rothschild said, what Nathan Rothschild? I don't remember his name. Back in the 1800s, buy, you know, when there's, the time you want to buy is when there's blood on the streets. And let me tell you, this is making people bleed. Like, this is coming to panic sell territory. You know, rather than losing, you know, more than 50%, I think people are starting to pull out. That's why it's dropping even lower. You know, panic is setting in because not only did we have like a 45-day run of it just dropping over and over, like, let's see, we had a peak, so 1, 2, 3, 4, that kind of peaked up, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 59, 50, 58 until it hit its low. 58 days of just kind of volatility dropping. Okay, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of recovery. And now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 25 more days of tanking. So on average, we had 12 days of recovery and like 70 something days of blood. That sucks, doesn't it? Right? So if we're looking at the ratio, it is dropping at a rate of 5 to 1. So if you have one good day, expect 5 shit days. Pardon my French. So yeah, not too excited, but you know, this is the whole thing about doing the stock market properly. Average down. You know, don't panic sell, and don't go all in. right? You gotta be smart in your positions. Every single time that you enter, you gotta understand, hey, you know what? If I have $10,000 to invest, I'm only gonna invest a quarter of it. And then I'm gonna wait a month. Oh, it dropped more. Okay, now I'm gonna invest another quarter. And it dropped further another month. And I'm gonna invest another quarter. Right? The entire idea is that if you average yourself down, you're going to be in a better position than you were at trying to guess either the peak or the peak or the valley. But one way or another, that's the end of my analysis for Forex, and I'm going to be jumping into stocks momentarily. So if that's it for you, thank you very much for tuning in. Please subscribe, like the channel, like the video, like the channel too, right? Hit the notifications if you want to kind of get updated as soon as these videos drop. And any suggestions, drop them in the comments section. I do read them, even though they are few. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys next week on the Forex. If you want to join me on the charts, see you in the next video.